Dispenser going up. Well, I guess that'll do.
Hey everyone, Uncle Dane back again with another episode of Engineering 101. Today we're going to be talking about working together with your fellow construction workers to benefit both your own game and the game your teammates are playing, TF2. In the last episode I left off with a quick tip about upgrading friendly teleporters during setup time if you're not planning on playing as engineer that round. This is a fantastically helpful thing to do, but if you are going to play as engineer, you should first take a look at your team to see if playing engineer would even be the right choice, because sometimes the best way to help your fellow engineers and your team in general is to not play engineer at all.
We don't need more engineers.
To explain, let's remind ourselves of the basic rules of team composition. In a 12 versus 12 server, you're always going to have multiples of certain classes. Valve's class selection screen splits the 9 mercenaries into 3 different categories: offense, defense, and support. Now, back when the game first came out in 2007, this might have been a more accurate description, but today, with the introduction of unlockable weapons, increasingly innovative game mechanics, and new game modes, these categories aren't as accurate anymore. In today's hat-filled TF2, I personally would also categorize the 9 classes into 3 different categories, but instead, it should look like this. Now, power classes should be the bulk of a decent team, but when it comes to multiplying the number of certain classes, I'd say that generally, once the support or pick categories begin to exceed 2 or more of each, that's when the class composition starts to hurt the overall team's effectiveness. You've probably actually seen this before in a game where your team has 4 spies and 3 snipers, yet you can't seem to get out of spawn. That's because there are not enough power classes to get past an even simple defensive setup. Engineer is actually included in this because at his core, he is considered a support class. In fact, I'd say that the engineer is the ultimate support class, even more of an overall supportive class than the medic. The engineer can support his team not only with heals, but with constant ammo supply, teleports to the front lines, reliable area denial, both offensively and defensively. That being said, too much support with hardly any teammates to actually do the supporting of, it just doesn't work. Even on a payload defense, 4 or more engineers can crumble in seconds beneath a single spy and a coordinated heavy Uber assault. The only reason that an all-engineer defense works in pubs is usually because the opposing team is also running 5 engineers of their own. The engineer as a class naturally slows the game down on his own, so too many of them can completely bring the game to a screeching halt, ultimately causing a stalemate, which is no fun for either side. The winning team is usually the one to collectively recognize the cause of the stalemate and actually switch off of a pick or support class and play a power class to finally get something done. I mean, I personally consider myself an engineer main, as it is my favorite class to play, but when I'm playing in pubs, if there are already 3 engineers on my team, I will just play something else, usually what the team needs. Just because it's your favorite class doesn't give you the automatic right to always play it no matter what. I suggest learning the basics of every class so that you can just help your team complete an objective in any team composition.
But Uncle Dan, I was engineer first. These other Engies should switch, not me.
Shh, get over yourself. Just play soldier or medic for a little bit. It will help way more than being the 5th engineer, I guarantee it. Okay, so now that we've got team composition out of the way, let's get into the bulk of what to do when playing with other engineers, or actually, I should say what not to do. So I'm going to call the rest of this video the don'ts of cooperative engineering. First off, don't take metal from other engineers' dispensers. Far too often, I'll have a dispenser built with the intention of letting it accumulate metal to use on my other buildings, but when I walk over to it, some other engineer has already used it all to keep spamming his mini sentries over and over. In engineer culture, this is considered a dick move. If you want to have a constant supply of metal for your own nest, just build your own dispenser, and then after both engineers have fully built everything they need to, and there's an excess of metal floating around inside the dispensers, then it is totally cool to use some other dude's metal to repair or replace buildings. But if they're obviously in the middle of getting their stuff built to level 3, it's pretty rude to just walk over and take it. But understandably, accidental metal stealing does happen, so when this does, as an act of good faith, you should just use the metal you took to upgrade their building, since that was how they were planning on using it in the first place. Secondly, don't ignore the well-being of friendly buildings. You can always see the health of friendly buildings by putting your crosshair on them, including buildings that aren't yours. You can use this to your advantage by helping the other engineer to keep it alive. If you notice that friendly building is taking damage, just heal it. The Rescue Ranger is great for this since you don't have to walk all the way over to their nest in order to do it. A good rule of thumb is to simply treat all of your team's buildings as your own. The only difference is you aren't alerted on your HUD when they get damaged, but if you pay close attention and are aware of where the damage is coming from, it's pretty easy to keep all of your team's buildings alive for a lot longer. Also worth noting, if another engineer is being harassed by a sapper happy spy, don't just run over and remove the sapper along with him. Identify the spy and kill him. Stop the source of the sapper while the other engineer stops the sapper itself. And the last, possibly the most important don't of cooperative engineering, and yet the most simple concept to understand, is don't group sentries together. Seriously, it's a problem. The biggest no-no you can do while playing with other engineers is putting your sentry gun, no matter what size it is, next to or even within close vicinity of another one. It's like the TF2 equivalent of standing right next to someone at a urinal when there are dozens of other ones available. It's just really rude and pretty annoying, especially if you understand why it simply doesn't do anything helpful. Multiple sentry guns next to each other are the definition of wasted potential for several reasons. One, it's much easier to destroy multiple sentries when they are in the same area. A spy can just run in and click on everything while a soldier or demo man spams in that general direction. Before you know it, 2 or more sentries are now destroyed and the defense is severely crippled. Spreading your team's guns out makes it much harder for one spy to just completely disable all of the sentries, and a demo man has to place twice as many stickies, a soldier has to fire twice as many rockets in order to take out everything in one push. Not to mention they'll probably have to attack from 2 different angles, so it should be pretty obvious that this is much more effective than this. Secondly, a level 3 sentry gun does a lot of damage. The assumption that double damage from 2 sentries is often overkill, and it's simply not worth putting the entire defense in one basket, a basket that can get instantly destroyed by 1 sapper and 4 stickies. And lastly, covering only one area is never ideal if there are multiple sentries available. Sentries should cover as many choke points or flank routes as possible so that no matter what direction the opposing team tries to go, they have to deal with a sentry gun. If you group the guns together, it'll just be that much easier for them to just take an open flank route and harass a big cluster of useless guns that don't even extend their range into peeking distance.
But Uncle Dan, I put my sentry here first. He's the one who should move his gun.
Shh, get over here, Self. If another engineer refuses to move his gun away from yours, be the bigger boy, and when it's safe, move yours to another place that guards a flank route or something. An easy way to practice good area denial is to place your gun in a spot that covers an area where the opposing team would have to stand in order to take out the other sentries. Sentries covering other sentries equals a really solid defense that will be that much harder for the enemy to push into. Your team will thank you for it, and the other engineers definitely will thank you for it. So, the world of cooperative engineering is filled with don'ts. Don't be the 3rd or 4th engineer on your team. Too much support hurts team composition, which loses games. Don't take metal from the other engineers' dispensers. It's rude. And don't be selfish. Treat all friendly buildings as if they were your own. And don't, under any circumstance, place your sentry close to another one. It's seriously the most common, yet easily avoided mistake that newer engineers make. Let's change this by doing the right thing and building somewhere else. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Engineering 101. I hope this video helped you in some way. And even if it didn't, at least do the engineering community a favor and share this advice with as many new players as you can, because there's a baby engineer born every day. The best thing we can do is teach them right from wrong. I'm Uncle Dane the Engie main, and I will talk to you nieces and nephews next time. Bye-bye.